Okay, so we need to be able to tell the time, and more so than that, going up into GCSE, you need to be able to add and subtract time, so that we can work out new times. And you have to be able to do this with a 24-hour clock or a 12-hour clock. So the first of all, what we're going to do is, well, look at what exactly a 24-hour clock is and why is it called 24-hour. Well, firstly, you should know or learn here that 1 hour contains 60 minutes, just as a minute is made up of 60 seconds. So when I set a watch and it counts up to a minute, 60 of those will mean I've then counted for an hour. So what has this got to do with the premise of a 24-hour clock? Well, a day is actually made up of 24 of those hours. So when we're using a clock that goes from 0 to 24, the day starting at 0 and ending on the 24th hour, and we'll look at that in a second because it's a little bit different, but when it's got those 24 hours in it, that's a clock which is using 24 hours. And it can be easier to read than a 12-hour clock, because if the clock said 6:24, we simply know that 6 hours have passed and 24 minutes have passed since the beginning of the day. If it said 13:24, we know that 13 hours have passed and 24 minutes have passed since the beginning of the day. With 24-hour clocks, probably one of the trickiest things to remember is that 00 is midnight and it's considered the morning. So midnight, dead in the center of the night, is the start of the morning. Remember that, because it's a little bit confusing in the concept of we don't consider morning until we get up, as in 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. But really the first half of the day is morning and the second half of the day is afternoon. So 00 is considered midnight. Throughout the day then we'll go to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all the way up to 2300, 2400, no, 2200, 2300 and so on. But when we hit 12:00, so when we're 12 hours through the day, we have then reached midday. And midday is considered the afternoon. Again, that can be a confusing one because we're halfway through the day when we get to 1200, 12:00. Do we consider that the morning or the afternoon? So remember that 0:00, midnight is morning, and 1200 or 12:00 is midday or the afternoon. And of course that will take us round then. Another 12 hours later will be midnight of the following day. The confusing thing, or maybe one of the confusing thing about the 24-hour clock, is that there is no 24th hour. Now the reason for this is once 24 hours passed, technically you're in the next day. So we go from 0 up to the 23 hours, in that up to the 59th minute, but the moment we cross over onto what would technically be 24, we reset the time back to 00. So we can never have 24 hours in the time 2400 or 2423, because as soon as we reach 24, we're actually at the midnight of the next day at 0:00. So never write down 2400, always write down 0:00. So say for instance I had a question which said, right, it's midnight, it's 0:00, what time will it be 24 hours later? I add the 24 on and it's 2400. So surely it's a 24-hour clock. I put down 2400. But no, you have to put down 000. So there is no 24th hour. We reach 23:59, the very last minute, or maybe the very last second in that. And then the time resets itself to 000.